Alrighty, I don't want to waste too much time 'cause I want Dania to get to her presentation. Hey everyone, my name is Jessie Tate. I hope that I've met you before. I'm a familiar face, but I am the virtual chapter director for APTA. If you are new to APTA, I'm going to give you just a quick 101 on what we are, what we do. Hopefully you are not new and joining us today because you're interested in learning about African bush camps. If you are not a member, we'd love to have you join us. It's $45 a year for an individual membership or $400 a year for a corporate membership. I'm happy to deep dive into that. If you have any questions about our membership, we do these webinars all the time for our corporate members, for our individual members to listen in. So I'd love to answer any questions that you have about that. You can go to apta.biz to learn more. Look up your chapters, get information, anything that you'd like there. So if you have any questions about membership, just let me know. I want to quickly touch on our global forum. Hopefully you've heard about this. We're in the home stretch here, the last chance to register. We are completely full for our suppliers, which is great. We're on a waiting list for our supplier side, but individual we will close at the end of this month. So if you happen to fancy a last minute trip to Cape Town, we would love to have you join us. If you're registered, we absolutely cannot wait to see you in Cape Town. We have an excellent program for you. This is something that we've been looking forward to for a long time, coming out of the pandemic and such. But I don't want to take up any more time. I'm going to hand everything over to Dania, who is going to take us through authentic experiences with African bush camps. Dania is on the West Coast. She oversees the West Coast, US and Canada. So she's going to take it away. This is an interactive webinar. Please, please, please type through questions. You can do that on the GoToWebinar control panel. So type those through. I'm going to have her stick around at the end. This is also being recorded. If you happen to need to step out for a moment, no stress. This will be posted on our APTA webinar library and will be sent out to everyone that registers anyhow. So if you joined late or need to leave early, this will be recorded, but I can't stress enough, please, please, please ask questions while we have Dania here. She knows better than I do, so I'm not even going to pretend to try and answer those at the end. So please type those through and enjoy the webinar. Over to you, Dania.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Jessie. Thanks for setting all of this up, and thank you to everyone who's joining here today or watching it remotely later. I'm Dania Weinstein. I'm the account manager for African bush camps based on the West Coast in Los Angeles. I handle West Coast in Canada. You might be familiar with some of my colleagues. There's Waja over in New York and Ray down in Charleston. So you have various people to answer questions for you about African bush camps. But today I will go through a little bit about who we are, some of our properties, some of our unique experiences that we offer. And like I said, write your questions in the chat, but I'll always be available later offline to connect with you separately if you have anything else you want to talk about. So diving in, who is ABC? Well, we are largely the product of our founder. This is Bex that you see on the screen right now. He started African bush camps in 2006. He is from Zimbabwe, got his start in the industry as a private guide, and then decided to create some beautiful, sustainable, authentic safari camps that give back to local communities and conservation. So that's really his vision, and we've grown from that. So you can see here, we're not only African bush camps, but we're the African Bush Camps Foundation. That's a huge part of who we are, which really plays into our tagline, sharing and conserving Africa together. It's not just about sharing Africa with you and with your travelers, but in that mission, we are all conserving Africa together. So I will throw on a little video because Bex can describe his vision better than I can. So here is Bex talking about African bush camps.
Growing up in Africa, I was lucky. There was love and the freedom to explore. Nature ignited an intrigue in me, and with each adventure, I looked further and saw deeper. I felt that the things to be learned of real value lay beyond four walls. The bush has its own language, and I learnt it. I heard it in the vast open spaces, the water, the wind. I read it in the prints in the sand, ripples on the water. I felt it in the pulse of the wildlife, the chatter of the birds, the heartbeat of the people. There was harmony, rhythm, a gentle ebb and flow. I felt that if we chose to hear nature, she would teach us to stop, listen, learn and give back. Nature was my guide. African bush camps became my work, a place in the heart of Africa, in harmony with its surroundings. Born of the guide, it's that spirit that infuses everything that we do. A place to come and hear nature, to stop, to listen, learn and give back. Here, exceptional guides are intuitively in touch and in tune with nature, wildlife and other people. They let nature guide them and they operate by instinct. They read signs and predict needs. Nature's stories eclipse schedules. Here, local staff members are in touch and in tune with guest needs. They're custodians of the land, with a depth of local knowledge, making memories that stir the soul. Our camps are in touch and in tune with nature. From luxury in the wild to wildly luxurious, your wildest dreams will come true. Our own foundation is in touch and in tune with community needs. We study and learn, listen and touch lives with meaning. We share and conserve Africa together. I'm an African. Nature is my guide. As humanity, there is so much to be gleaned from the forces of nature. Let's choose to listen. African bush camps, your guide through the heart of Africa.
All right, so there you have it, a little bit from Bex himself. Okay, looking at a map, because I know we all love a map here. So you can see that Somalisa there on the map in Zimbabwe in Wengi National Park was our first camp. That's where we started in 2006 with the one camp. Fast forward to today, and we have 17 camps, soon to be 18. We have 9 camps in Zimbabwe, 6 camps in Botswana, and 2 camps in Zambia. So those are the 3 destinations in which we operate. I can always share this map digitally after the fact, but I just want to call attention to the icon, or sorry, the legend here. These specify which properties you're looking at. So expedition, signature, and icon. You can see that we have 3 different styles of camps, and you can see where they are on the map. And we'll get into those differences in just a moment. But first, just looking at the destination, like why Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia? What is so beautiful about these destinations? Why would they work for your travelers? My favorite thing that all 3 of these places have in common, of course, is that there's so much water. They all make for a real mix of land and water, which means diversity of activities. If you do have active travelers, adventurous travelers, people who want to get out of the vehicle, stretch their legs, you can generally make that happen in Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. All 3 of those destinations are known for offering activities outside of just standard game drives. Although we love our game drives, it's nice to have the opportunity to go Makoro or canoe or go boating or fishing, and walking is also really, really big in these destinations, which is really fun. A whole different way to see the wildlife. Also, having that much water means diversity of animals. So lots of water animals, elephant lovers heaven in these 3 areas. And also just the water makes for beautiful landscapes, which I think is really good for the soul, to just stare out to the water and the hills beyond and enjoy your environment. So I mentioned the 3 different types of camps. Expedition camps are our line of properties that are good for that adventurous traveler. They want the classic safari experience. They might not need all the bells and whistles, but still really amazing locations, fantastic guiding, fantastic staff, and all the wildlife, but without all the extra sort of focus on decor and style. Signature camp is one step up from that. So that is for the person that's looking for a few more comforts, a little bit more style. And I do think that's a very popular type of property for North American travelers. And then we recently introduced the icon properties to African bush camps, starting with Lolabisi that opened up in June of last year. So it's still a baby, but it's been getting tons of attention from Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast and lots of awards given to Lolabisi. So that's the first in the icon category, and it'll be joined next year by Etsaro, which will be our newest camp in Botswana. And also our classic camp, Thorn Tree, that many people are probably familiar with, located on the Zambia side of the falls. That will be actually getting a little bit of a refurb and boosting from signature level to icon. So starting in 2024, we'll have 3 properties in that icon level. Looking a little bit more into what these camps mean and looking at some photos, you can start seeing the differences between these camps. So here we have some of our expedition camps, including Somalisa expeditions here in the top left, Linyanti expeditions, Kanga camp, and Zambezi expeditions in Zimbabwe. You can see the price range here. These will be the most cost-effective properties. If you do have someone that might be on a little bit of a budget, this could be perfect for them. They max out next year at $870 per person per night in high season, rack rates, of course. And again, just the focus here will be sort of authenticity, adventure, open to nature, just classic safari experiences. And because these ones are a little bit more open to nature, they will only accept children 12 plus, whereas some of our camps accept children of all ages, because African bush camps is pretty well known for being quite family friendly. We do love family travel and very much encourage you to bring the young ones along. Signature camps, you can sort of see here, there's the shift in style. There's a little bit more emphasis put on the interiors and decor and art, and like I said, just a few extra comforts. Whereas our expedition camps might have bucket showers, not all of them do, but some of them do. Here in Signature and up, you'll definitely always have like piped water, flush toilets, all of that. So if you do have people who are a little bit, wanting some of those extra comforts, Signature camps will definitely deliver that for you. And you can see again the price range, it's a step up in cost, but still very cost effective. African bush camps is well known for just being fairly priced. We don't want to raise our rates too high because we do love that safari can be accessible for everyone. So next year they max out rack rate at $12.45 per person per night. And then I should mention that in the signature camp range, we have sort of 2 types of camps. We have family-friendly camps that take kids of all ages, and then we have some that are a little bit more adult-oriented, taking kids 12 plus. So it's within this signature camp category that you'll find our family camps. And those are a fantastic option for people that do want to bring their little ones along with them on safari. And then, like I mentioned, the icon camps, again, a little bit of a step up in price, but still really not too bad, especially if you're looking at, for instance, Etsaro that's opening March of next year in the Okavango Delta. That's the image you're seeing here on the right. That would be a stunning, beautiful, beautiful property and priced at $1,490 per person per night next year, high season rack. So as we know, a very, very good price, especially for Botswana. Considering these properties are truly exceptional design. Definitely will satisfy that traveler that wants all the extras, the spa, the gym, the air conditioning, the Wi-Fi, the art, the decor, that wow factor. And these icon camps also take kids of all ages. So that's also good to keep in mind. Just because you're traveling with little ones doesn't mean you can't be in super stylish properties. And we have massive family rooms. So actually they make for a really, really good option for families looking for exceptional experiences. So I'm going to get into 3 specific camps just to give you a taste of what we are offering. And then I'll talk a little bit more about sort of unique experiences and the foundation side of things as well. So just to give you a sense of what I'm about to talk about, I'll start with Nyamatusi Camp over here in Monopools National Park, which is such an exceptional park over in northern Zimbabwe. And then we'll hop across the river, across the Zambezi over to Lower Zambezi National Park, where I'd like to show you a little bit about Lolabisi. As I mentioned, that opened just last year, so it's still quite new. And we'll end talking about Kwai Ladiba, which is our newest camp in the portfolio. It just opened July 1st of this year, so it's still very fresh, really, really beautiful, a great new option in the Delta. So starting first with Nyamatusi Camp, I did want to talk to you about this because I think Mana Pools National Park in general is just such an incredible destination and a little bit off the beaten path. So not everyone really knows why they would send their travelers there or when to incorporate it into an itinerary. But really, this park is so wonderful for anyone looking for not only exceptional game viewing, but just really unique experiences that your travelers will be sure to remember forever. So something that Mana is really well known for is the canoe experience that's offered here on the Zambezi. As you can see, there are hippos, there are crocs, there are elephants, but it is a little bit of a thrilling experience, but so fun and also really beautiful and peaceful. You just sort of meander down the river and the bird life is incredible and the sounds of nature and the flowers floating on the water. It's something really, really gorgeous. Also, Mana is really well known for the walking experiences. So if you do have people wanting to get out of the vehicle, stretch their legs, and maybe do a little bit more than just your typical nature walk, Mana will offer something exceptional. So here we do big game walks, where you heard me right, you get out of the vehicle at any point in the park. That's something really neat that the park offers, is that you can be driving along on your game drive and your guide can just pull over anywhere and say, let's hop into the car and go approach that elephant on foot. Or maybe you want to approach the wild dog den and just take a seat and kind of watch as the babies come out and start to play. So getting close to large game on foot is on offer in Mana, and that is safe because walking has been done in Mana for a long, long time. So the animals are much less skittish to that. Also, the guiding expertise in Zimbabwe in general is just known to be the best in Africa. The certification process is quite rigorous, takes many years. So the guides are well trained for walking safaris. And again, it makes for really unique experiences. So here we're looking at photos of Nyamatusi Camp. We actually have 4 camps in Mana Pools, 2 signature camps and 2 expedition camps. So there's sort of different options for different types of travelers. But Nyamatusi Camp is one of my favorites. I mean, look at this design. You can have sort of a treehouse type experience. It's tented, it's beautiful, all overlooking the Zambezi River with hippos snorting day and night and incredible wildlife opportunities. Moving along, just across the river, sadly, we are not elephants, so we can't just walk across the river to Lolobezi. We have to take the long way around. So people don't often combine Lower Zambezi and Mana, even though they're really close to each other. But it is cool to look across the river and realize that's Mana Pools or that's Lower Zambezi National Park and kind of see the differences between the 2 locations. So Lolobezi is a fantastic option for people who, again, maybe they're interested in that walking or the canoeing, but they actually want to see somewhere a little bit more luxurious. They'll be very happy at Lolobezi. So as I mentioned, this is the first of its kind in our icon category. And it definitely is a great option if you have people looking for something super stylish. And I'm talking like really, really beautiful, lots of spaces throughout this camp that are honestly jaw-dropping. The design is gorgeous. There's so much local art. There's so many pieces that are designed and woven and implemented by local artists, local ladies who have sewn all the reeds together. And it's very, very special. The colors, the views, it's all so beautiful. But of course, the wildlife and the landscape is always going to be the #1 luxury. And we're just on such a beautiful part of the park. It's in eastern Lower Zambezi National Park, 10 minutes from Jeki Airstrip, very convenient to get to. We're really lucky. We're right on the Zambezi and at the confluence of a channel called Discovery Channel. And right there is just leopard heaven, tons of leopard. Also, I mentioned wild dog over on the Zimbabwe side, but the wild dog population is also very, very strong on the Zambia side. There's a pack of about 56 wild dogs right now that have a habit of taking down buffalo. So the game viewing is truly incredible in this park. We're also just in such a quiet area. You're not running into other cars. And we have a motorboat based here at Lolabisi as well. So for people also wanting to do the fishing and sunset cruises, there's just so much to do here. Walking, driving, motorboat, canoeing, like you could easily stay for more than 3 nights and have tons to do every single day. Last but not least, I wanted to get into the details of Kwai. So now we're jumping over to Botswana, to the Eastern Okavango Delta in our Kwai community concession. We actually have 2 camps here, Kwai Ledwood, which has been around since 2021, and Kwai Ladiba, which, as I mentioned, has just been open for 2 months now. But we've gotten such good feedback already, and I'm not surprised. It's all the same staff that we have throughout our Botswana camps. Some of them have come over from Ledwood, so our staff are already, they feel like family. That means your travelers are welcomed into camp already feeling like family. So it's allowed us to really hit the ground running as opposed to sort of needing that ramp up period. Yeah, I've been seeing the feedback forms come in. I'm very happy to say it's like all 5s, which is great news. You can feel very confident sending your travelers here. So this location is really amazing. The game viewing is consistently good year round, which I think is really nice to know. I know the Okavango Delta can be a confusing landscape. It feels like, you know, different parts of the year really vary in terms of experience and game viewing, but I will say the Kwai community area is lucky to be positioned in such a way that game is quite consistent. We also have access to Makoro year round, which is really nice to know. And then, as you can see, just the camp is really beautiful. I love the clean lines. It's very down to earth, very sort of stylish but sophisticated. Just, you know, simple, but there's some funky touches. I think they've done a really wonderful job. You'll notice that they have a photo of a pizza oven down in the bottom right. We have a pizza oven in almost every single one of our properties. I think we started that really because, like I said, we're family friendly, and do-it-yourself pizza nights are a huge hit with the kids, but we realized that adults really like doing that too. So you'll see we do a lot of do-it-yourself pizza nights. You build your own pizza. We also have like choose your own toppings for stir fry night. So lots of really sort of interactive meals. You're always meeting the chef and feeling like, you know, at home in an African bush camp's property. I also do want to point out there's a helicopter in one of these photos. If you're staying for 3 or more nights at Kwai Ledwood or Kwai Ladiba, and it's also true for our camps up in Linyanti Main or Linyanti Ebony, if you stay for 3 or more nights, then we throw in a free helicopter experience. So really good value add that we already include, and you're welcome to keep that as a surprise for your guests and just have them be delighted once they get to the bush. Okay, so a little bit into the foundation now. Of course, this is such a big part of who ABC is. It was established in 2006, the same time that we established the properties. Our foundation has 3 pillars that it focuses on. That's education, community empowerment, and conservation. So we have about 13 active projects in the 3 countries that we operate. Ranging from schools to clinics to community gardens to human wildlife conflict projects. There's an anti-poaching unit. In 2001, we started the female guide program in Botswana, which just recently expanded to start in Zambia as well. And we have the goal of seeing that expand to Zimbabwe soon. So there's tons of good stuff happening through the foundation. It actually means that a lot of our projects are accessible from our camps. So if you do have travelers wanting to include something on their safari that might feel a little bit more meaningful, diversify their experience a little bit. As we know, people are drawn to Africa for the wildlife, but they often come home talking about the people. And I think including something like this, whether it's visiting a school or getting a chance to learn about conservation efforts happening in the area, those are the things that really stay with people. So most of our camps have 1 or more foundation projects available from the camp, whether that's 15 minutes away or up to 2 hours away, it depends. Every camp is a little bit different, but I do encourage you to think about this kind of thing while you're putting your safaris together and see if it's accessible from the camps that you're including, or, you know, talk to your travelers and ask them, is this something that they might be interested in? there's a couple more hands-on activities that we offer. So we do have the opportunity for people to just sort of visit the projects if that's of interest, but if they are interested in doing something a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more intensive, if you will, we can actually get involved. So whether that's, we have a nutrition program that we run from Kwai Preschool, Thorntree Primary School, or Somalisa Primary School. These are schools that you can visit as part of your foundation project visit. But if you want, we can align that visit with lunchtime, and you can actually have the opportunity to serve lunches out to some of the students, which is just about 1 hour of your time. But it allows you to sort of break that barrier. You're actually getting involved. You're doing a little bit of good while you're there, and you're seeing the smiles of these kids, because nothing brings a smile to their faces like a big plate of food. Another really cool thing that we've started doing recently, which I am a huge fan of, is our Build a Boma project. This is something on offer from Boomy Hills and soon to be from Somalisa as well. Both of those are in Zimbabwe. So building a boma means building a cattle boma. Cattle are put in the boma at night to protect them from lions and other predators. Lions attacking livestock and cattle is something that's part of our human wildlife sort of coexistence project. So now your travelers, if they're interested, can actually spend a couple hours of their time to build a boma. It's not that difficult. It only takes sort of less than a half day, but it is something that at the end of the day, you worked with a community side by side to build something really tangible that they will keep and use for a long time. What's really cool is that also the cattle go into the boma at night, and of course, because of their waste, they end up creating soil in that boma area that becomes really, really fertile. So that boma ends up moving about once a month or once every couple months, and what's left behind is this really amazing soil where they can actually grow crops more easily. So it's sort of like a twofold solution for these communities. Okay, now a little bit more of the specifics. We have some fantastic specials. Just pay attention as you're thinking about, who is looking to go on safari. Are they honeymooners? Are they families? Are they looking for amazing deals? We do have some good specials for 2023 and 2024. So here we're seeing an Emerald Season special, which encourages people to travel off peak. Let's go during the beautiful Emerald Season, when it's a little bit wetter, but it's also lush and green. The bird life is wonderful. All the babies are being born. You'll see tons of rainbows. So if you go at that time of year, sort of November through March, you can get really, really good deals. And then our honeymoon special is fantastic. Partner pays 50% across all of our camps all year round if you're staying for 6 or more nights. Kids stay free. Again, we love family travel. So we consider kids to be 15 and under, which is quite old for a lot of other places. I think it's like 12 or under. So really it's even up to teens stay free. And that for next year, the dates are between April and July. So of course that partially correlates with summer holidays. So if you do have people wanting to book their summer safaris next year, they can have their kids stay free with them. And then we have a pay to stay free for certain months of the year as well. And then we have our general long stay rate. So even if you don't qualify for any of those, basically the longer you stay, the less you pay. We have a 6-night, 9-night, and 12-night. We also have a really good agent portal. If you're not already signed up for it, feel free to shoot me an email. I can get you all loaded into our system. Also here, you'll just see sort of a general ABC agent and ABC agent password. That is accessible for anyone. So you're welcome to check out the portal, even if you haven't signed up. We do prefer that you actually sign up so that we can, start building our relationship with you and make sure that you're getting specific information that you might need. But our portal is home to live availability, our fact sheets, really good high resolution images, lots of videos, of course, all of our rates and specials. There's tons on there, so you'll want to check it out and see, there's stuff on there that can help you in booking safaris more easily. And I think that's it. So I'm very happy to answer any questions that people might have.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Dania. Appreciate it. As Dania mentioned, please type through those questions. We'll have her stick around for just a little bit longer. We did have a few come in, so I'll prompt you with those, but I do want to know, this one's a good one to start out with. What's ABC known for, and what sets you apart from others? You know, Africa can be so overwhelming. I know it's hard to break it down into different regions. There's so much to offer. So give us your what you like best.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Jesse. I think that ABC is known for a couple different things. Number one is our guides. Our guides are of top quality. They're amazing people. They're so much fun, but they're also just true experts, like top of their field, which I really think stems from the fact that Bex was a safari guide, is a safari guide. He still guides. And so that's just such a core piece of who he is and what he looks for in properties. We do annual guide training where we get all of our guides together at least once a year, if not more. And there's just 2 weeks of team building, and they sharpen their skills. And it makes, not only does it keep them top of their field in terms of expertise, but it makes them really bond and feel like family, which kind of brings me to my other thing I think ABC is really well known for, which is just like our in general staff and the vibe that you get when you come into our camps. We tend to have very down to earth properties. We want you to feel like family. It's a very authentic experience. Our staff are treated like family, and then that translates to our guests being treated like family. You know, just relax, feel at home. This is your home now. That's the general atmosphere at an ABC camp. And our staff are actually hired all locally. So that's part of our mission through the foundation as well, is that we're trying to empower local communities. And no one knows these lands better than the people from here. So if you go into any of our camps, you'll see everyone's from these areas. And that includes, like, when you get up to camp host, camp manager, head guide, all of our staff are really from these local parks and areas, which I think really influences the general atmosphere at our camps.
Definitely. It makes such a huge difference. So, from the guide down to your, waiter. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is a great question. It's, do the family rooms in both the Signature and Icon camps take 3 children or only 2?
Great question. We are allowed to do triples in some of our camps, not all of them. So if you have a family of 5 or 3 that want to be in one room together, let us know, and I can sort of direct you to itineraries where that can definitely work. But it's not just all of our properties. I will say, if you want to do 3 in a family room, that's fine. Definitely. It's just 3 in one room, and the second room having 2, making it 5. That might be the part that's a little bit more questionable.
Also, I know that
yeah.
people use the term like children loosely. Like, is it an 8-year-old or like an 18-year-old? How,
Exactly.
So I know it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
I mentioned this at the beginning, but I do want you to point it out. So you oversee the West Coast. We will be sending a follow-up email. We have some questions about your East Coast reps and getting in touch with them and stuff like that. So when we send the follow-up, maybe we do a contact info to Waja and Ray, it was, correct?
Yes, yeah. Definitely.
Okay, no problem. Let's see. Oh, here's a great one. Does ABC have any wellness travel features at any of the properties? I know that like post-pandemic, it's a lot of like getting back to basics and, definitely not just only spa treatments, but like more wellness overall. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really good question. I do feel like that's very prevalent these days. We do. So the first thing that comes to mind is Lola Beezy, where we actually have a yoga pavilion. It's a really beautiful space over by the gym and the spa. And so even if we provide yoga mats. You're welcome to roll out your mat, stretch out. I mean, I can think of no better place than there to do that. But even if you're not super into yoga, it's a really nice place to just read or meditate or just sit and enjoy some alone time. We are going to be adding a yoga pavilion at Thorntree. So that's actually one of the changes that will be happening, that's sort of boosting it into icon level, as well as adding Wi-Fi to to the rooms. Right now, it's only in the library, and some upgrades to the spa and the gym there as well. So yes, for people interested in yoga, we could design like a whole yoga itinerary. We also do have a little bit more focus on health and wellness in the menus that we offer. And again, Lolavisi comes to mind. We have a lot of really wonderful health dishes that we serve there. One fun thing that we do is instead of waking you up with coffee in the morning, we wake you up with a really delicious fresh squeezed shot of like ginger, cayenne, beet, whatever they're making that day, but a really beautiful little health shot. And then coffee is served at the lodge. And like with, yeah, it's really wonderful. And then with brunch, there's a whole like smoothie bar option. So I feel we're very aware of sort of where things are going and the trends that are taking these days. So I think there is more emphasis on health. But if you have any travelers that are sort of looking for anything specific, then of course that's the type of thing we'd like to know, and we can direct you to camps sort of like, you know, based on what you're looking for. And of course, we can always adjust menus based on what your travelers are interested in as well.
Sure. I know a lot of people, like I'm not a yogi. I can touch my toes, but that's about it. But I think a lot of people balk at like, you know, not wanting to take a formal yoga class, but it's all like what you make it, and whether you sit there with your legs crossed and just like, you know, listen to the sounds around you. I think like a lot of people, you know, get nervous when they hear yoga. So having that pavilion is amazing anyhow.
Yes.
Here's a good question. So you mentioned at several of your properties you're getting out on foot. For those that might be newer or don't quite know, can you talk about, you know, safety and bushwalks in general? I know that's kind of a broad topic, but just for those that are interested in, you know, getting out of the vehicle and something a little different.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not dropping them off and saying we'll pick you up in an hour. It's a very organized activity.
Totally. I know, yes, of course. Definitely never left alone in the bush. That's the number one rule. Safety will always be the priority on safari. I'm sure any safari camps would agree. That's always going to be the most important thing. You'll always be in the care of your expert guide. Walking includes being with your guide who is trained for gun safety as well. And there's always, like, as you hop out of the vehicle, there's always a talk about safety, how to be in a line together, any, you know, staying quiet, hand signals that we need to be aware of. All of that is covered. So you're never left wondering, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening right now. In some places, Botswana is coming to mind, you'll be more focused on sort of smaller nature walks, which are generally focused on like the birds and insects and termite mounds and plants. And it's just a great chance to talk about sort of the culture of this place, and these plants might have been used for medicinal use. And, you know, like it's all so interesting and opens your eyes to the world of sometimes the smaller things, because everyone goes into safari talking about like the big five, for instance, but there's so much to learn, and there's so many beautiful things that aren't necessarily in the form of huge animals, right? You want to pay attention to all the smaller things. That's often where a lot of the magic happens. But if you are looking at Zimbabwe and sometimes Zambia, you, as I mentioned, like there is the opportunity to actually do these sort of more intensive walks where you approach larger game on foot. And those, again, like safety is always the priority. So definitely you'll be hearing all about, you know, even if you do like 5 walks during your stay, you'll get 5 different safety briefings each time. So that's always the priority. But walking, I can't recommend it enough. It really is a whole different way to see wildlife and understand your surroundings. So it is nice to have that on offer and have the chance to just sort of diversify your activities that way.
Definitely. And it's amazing. The guides are like, you know, you think of them obviously protecting you, but then they've studied animal behaviors. So like they essentially can communicate or, you know, notice different signs and stuff. So, you know, you're never in danger.
Absolutely.
I might message this one to you afterwards. It's a bit of a long question, but good if you can just at least touch on it. So you have several different properties in different areas. What is the process from going from property to property in different countries? For example, you know, vaccines and visas. And so you guys have different properties in different countries. If someone wanted to do like an ABC circuit how hard is it to combine with all the hoops you have to jump through with that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
that's a great question. Um, so it's really easy to combine our camps. Those three countries they work very easily together, with Victoria Falls pretty much being the hub at all times. So you'll go through there at some point. But in terms of internal flights, it's all easy. It gets you to your camp in time for lunch at the next stop. So that works pretty seamlessly. In terms of like visas, vaccinations, that kind of thing, it's again quite easy. So Zambia and Botswana are visa free. Zambia just lifted their visa within the last year. Um, so that takes care of that. Zimbabwe still requires a visa. It's $30 for US travelers. And vaccinations, nothing is mandatory. So there are the recommended vaccinations. Of course, we all recommend our travelers go visit a travel clinic and just make sure they're up to date on certain things, but nothing is actually mandatory. And that includes the COVID vaccine. So that's been lifted in all of those destinations as well.
Yeah.
So they're actually pretty easy to combine. I will say our best-selling circuit last year was called Magic of Three Countries, which takes you to Botswana, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, which I know sounds like a lot of border crossings, but it's really easy to do. And they're pretty seamless, and it's not too difficult with visas, vaccinations either. So it is possible in a place like this where things are kind of well connected.
Nice. I'll do probably one or two more questions. I really like this one. Can you talk about some other activities that you offer? So, you mentioned you have different projects in like villages and stuff like that, bushwalks, bush meals, but are there any like super unique activities like a hot air balloon? I know you offer bush meals, but what are some of the other like unique experiences that
Sure.
the Mokoro is always unique? I know that's kind of a trick question here, but are there any activities that you'd just like to touch on to wrap it up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely the ones that are included with our properties, and we do include all the activities in the rate. I should mention it's just all inclusive, all the food, all the drinks, all the activities. And it's funny whenever I tell our staff, make sure you do a wow moment for this person. They're like, we always do a wow moment.
Yeah, exactly right.
So we guarantee just beautiful wow moments across the board. But yeah, so like in Botswana, of course, there's Koro, walking, driving. There's also opportunity to do the helicopter, as mentioned. That is included as a value add if you meet certain requirements. 3 nights or more, basically, at our signature or icon camps. But you can also, something fun that I really like is that we partner with Helicopter Horizons, and for like $50 more per person, if you just include that onto your already complimentary helicopter flip, you can do a champagne stop where they actually stop somewhere in the Delta and pop a bottle of champagne, and it feels like such a no-brainer if you have honeymooners, or I'm even doing it for like a mother-daughter coming up, anyone who wants some champagne, why not?
That's so amazing. Oh my God.
It's so fun, yeah. And then Zimbabwe, of course, like included in the camps is canoeing, walking, fishing, boating. There's opportunity for the foundation activities as well. I would say those are really unique experiences. There's always tons to do by the falls. If you have adrenaline junkies, of course, we can do like devil's pool or bungee jumping, or there's limitless activities sort of around the falls area. But yeah, I think the foundation is that's a good place to look. If you're looking for unique experiences, that's something. Not only are those project visits and potentially the more hands-on activities too, not only are they so meaningful and really make for an impactful safari experience, but we can start customizing there. So if you do have travelers that are like really, really interested in conservation, we can take them out and get them to talk to the anti-poaching unit potentially, and like, build that BOMA where they're really talking to the community. And we can sort of like custom design stuff around your travelers if they have really specific needs, especially, or interests, I should say, especially if they're like a family or groups, larger groups, then we can really sort of do something unique for them that like no one's done before.
That was kind of the next question, and this will be the last question. Like, offering different programs in terms of like photography focus, if your guests are wanting to like volunteer or maybe go to like spend some time in a school or something, like do you offer, I guess, more focused itineraries and stuff like that? And it sounds like you guys can literally do anything. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we can always talk about it and try and custom design something within reason.
sure.
Um, like, for instance, there's a group of women interested in sort of doing like a female empowerment safari. And so we're doing Botswana. They're going to be guided by some of the female guides and have a chance to sit down and talk to them about what their life is like in Botswana and what this female guiding is looking like and what that means for them and their families and communities. Thorn Tree is a really fantastic stop for women who are interested in sort of learning about that female empowerment side of things, because we have a ton of female staff around there. We also have a clinic and a school that we support just near Thorntree, which both just happen to be like women run. So we're doing a whole sort of activity around that there, and there's lots to do, but it's sort of like, come talk to us and we can make a plan. I will
Sure.
say also I've been approached about like a sewing group, for instance, and they're going to Somalisa, and we have one of the foundation projects we support there is Tandanani, which is a women's sewing group, and so they're going to spend some time sewing with the ladies there, and it's like,
There's
you
something
know,
for
there's
everyone.
all sorts of random things we can do, but just come talk to us and we can talk about how to make things really customized for your travelers.
Cool. No, that sounds good. If I didn't get to your question, I'll be sending all of these to Dania, and she'll be able to answer it all, and we'll get your questions answered. Again, there's Waja on the East Coast and Ray as well, so I'll make sure that you guys know who to reach out to, although Dania's a good starting point. So we'll leave it at that, and thank you so much for your time, everyone. You as well, Dania. We really appreciate you walking us through some of the cool new stuff, what's going on, and just an update here. But we hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for your support of APTA.
Thank you so much. Really nice talking with you all. I appreciate the questions. Thanks so much, Jessie.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye.